Eden, Mark, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. And more importantly, thank you for another season of Top Chef Canada. I've got so many questions to ask, but before we get into this, got to ask you both. And Eden, I'm going to ask you first. How are you doing during this pandemic? Because who would have thought 14 months of this would still be going on?
First of all, Rudy, thank you so much for having us. It's great to see you. I can't complain. My family's healthy. I'm healthy. We're taking it one day at a time. Obviously, doing as much as I can to support a lot of the industries that are, suffering at this time. Obviously, being so close to the hospitality industry and what I do, just ordering in and trying to support as much as I can. Trying to be as optimistic, knowing that like the vaccine is just slowly rolling out, and hopefully by late spring, maybe summer, we'll be able to get back to some normalcy and have these restaurants open again and be able to go out and like do some normal things and put some money and love back into the restaurant industry.
Absolutely. Mark, how are you doing throughout all this?
Well, Rudy, good to be with you. Always enjoyed your show. Uh, it is what it is. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I've had to lay off 450 people and shut down 7 operations. So we've had stops and starts, which makes it even worse. But I remain optimistic. I believe there'll be a big pushback to the industry once we reopen. We've seen that with the stops and starts, that the moment we open the door, people are back in numbers. So I believe there's a lot of pent up enthusiasm with the clients to get back to some sense of normalcy and getting back out to restaurants. But having taken it away from people, they realize how important it is for them to sort of reconnect with restaurants. And what we took for granted is something we'll never take for granted again. So I remain optimistic. I look forward to the early summer. I think we should be beyond it by then.
Cross fingers on that. But we talk about normalcy. Top Chef Canada, so many seasons that we've had. This is a continuation of not just celebrating food, but celebrating Canadians. Eden, talk about the fact that what I just talked about here, that we are celebrating food, how we make food, but we're celebrating Canadians and Canadian culture. This is truly, when we use the term melting pot, Top Chef Canada is that definition.
100%. And I think that's what makes this show so special. Canada is so multicultural and diverse, and the chefs that have made it onto this show represent that beautifully. And for me, what I love so much is being able to get to meet so many people from across the country and learn about their backgrounds through their stories and through their food. And there's no better way to get to know someone than to eat their food. You know what I mean? So, I think that that's just like the perfect just way of explaining what this show is. It's amazing chefs from across the country, and because we're such a gorgeous melting pot of cultures from around the world, we get to see so much diversity and learn so much. Like, that's another thing that I love, is when I get to try someone's food, I get to learn something new. And this season, we learned a lot of amazing things, and I cannot wait for people to see what we experienced this season.
Mark, you're shaking your head. Do you want to continue with that?
No, Canada is such a melting pot, and I think season 9 really represented the country geographically and culturally. I tasted food that I had never tasted before, and really I tasted ingredients that I had no knowledge of at all, and then trying to think through it mentally, I had to have the chefs explain it to me exactly what it was. But that was a huge surprise, and one of those moments that become very special in the show, because how often are you actually stumped on something and you have no cultural reference to these products? and you eat this amazing dish. So that was an amazing moment on the show, and we had a number of them. But I just thought the intensity of the chefs, the intellect that they brought, and then just the sheer positive energy they brought every single day, because this is not an easy thing to do, to go through Top Chef Canada, and I thought they did it well.
You know, I agree with you, especially because people don't realize they're on camera throughout the whole time. So just because you're in your own home, and you know doing your stuff, you can be amazing. But when that camera is on you, it's a completely different story. Even for folks who may have never seen this amazing show, what is the premises of the show, and of course, what does the winner get?
Oh, it's probably the most intense culinary. It's the most prestigious and intense culinary competition in the country. This season, the winner wins $100,000. The title of Top Chef Canada and a Lexus RX hybrid electric. I think that's the correct.
Yeah.
And which is huge, like hello, like a car and like a lot of money. And the title, which is it's a huge deal to win Top Chef Canada and to call yourself a top chef. So it's, sorry, what was the rest of the question? You wanted to know what goes into it? The challenge?
Yeah. So for folks who have never watched the show, how exactly does this work? And you are right, because it's kind of funny when I watch a show in the beginning, it's almost like you're going to war. It
Oh, yeah.
really does right off the top. It's intense.
It's intense. And like, you know, as you said earlier, a lot of people don't realize what goes into being on set. So it's not just these chefs coming into a new kitchen. They're with like 10 cameras, tons of lights. They're trying to win the title, the money, the car, everything. And they have like a lot of these challenges that are incredibly hard. So, you know, every episode we have a quick fire challenge, which changes every episode. So it could be a skills test where everyone's in a race against showing us their skills with knives or different cooking techniques. And then I give them the final challenge of each episode, which obviously varies depending on, you know, what we put together for the episode. And then they have probably around a day to work on that. And then the day after, we taste everything that they make, and the judges obviously judge. Sometimes we have a guest judge, sometimes we don't. And then we eliminate a chef, and the chefs get eliminated based off their last dish. So it's really dependent on how you are every day. You know, you're judged on your last dish. So you can be amazing all the way up until episode 5, and then you can have an awful day, and that could be the end. So it's really, really tough because it's every day. You just have to be on.
That's true. Mark, as a head judge, what are some of the things that you look for in these amazing chefs? And let's make sure people understand this too. You guys aren't, yelling at them or, putting them down, but you guys are very blunt in what you like and what you don't like.
Well, end of day, it is a contest, right? So someone gets to stay and someone gets to go home, and we have to make that call. So I look at the ingredient. I look at how they processed it. What was the process they used to put it on the plate? Was it interesting? Was it something very different than what I've ever experienced before? And then I look at the cooking technique. I look at the presentation. And then ultimately 90% of it for me is, does the food really taste good? When they nail the flavor, I'll give them points if maybe the presentation wasn't perfect. If your presentation was perfect and it didn't taste good, you're going home. For me, it's all about the taste of the food, end of day. So I try to keep it in my own mind very simple as to how I judge the plate. And it's not about the theatrics. It's not about the personality. It's not about the one little gimmick on the plate. It's, would I order that in a restaurant and be happy with it, right? And I try to balance that out.
Absolutely.
So, people home. You don't really want to send people home, and you actually identify with them, and you become familiar with them, and not that you become friendly, but you have compassion for them, right? You don't want them that day.
Identifying is a great, great word. Eden, I want to jump over to you on this because I think this is important too. Because these chefs, their own stories are extremely inspirational because you hear certain things about their lives. You're going, wow, and you made it on this great television show? That's amazing.
Of course, and it's inspirational. And you want that. You want people to watch the show and feel like inspired and feel motivated because you want them to feel like they can do the same. When I look at these shows, I'm like, wow, I love this story and what they've overcome is amazing. And like, I want to do it too. It really inspires. And I think that that's really important. And you do listen, I'm with these chefs every day and we don't get to be with them one-on-one that often. But when I do get to spend time with them, there's great conversation. And I obviously end up really enjoying and becoming friends with everyone in a sense. And to see anyone go is just heartbreaking because, it's, how hard it is for them to work to get there. But what it really comes down to, and what Mark said, it's about the food and it's about your last dish. And as much as obviously you don't want to see anyone go, it's a competition and everyone's trying to kind of take the stories and the anything out of it and just base it, like literally look at the dish. It's not about, even in the end, who made it. We're like just looking at the dish and talking about the challenge that was in front of them, and then that's how that gets judged. It's all about the food.
And Mark, something I want to throw over to you, I think is very important. One of the elements that you guys do in this show, which I think is very important, especially during this pandemic, you make sure that you mention names of restaurants. And what I love about that is because when the chefs are preparing food, when you put that chef to that restaurant, you think to yourself, when things start to get better, that's the restaurant I want to go to because I want to try that meal.
Well, 100%. You need to give the industry as much promotion as you possibly can and an identity at this point in time. But people can support their local restaurants, their favorite restaurants, just with curbside orders now. You could buy gift certificates at restaurants and call it money in the bank for when things open up again. But that's great support for restaurants now. So anything you can do to support the industry, I'm on it. And I have to say, my clients have just been amazing that way. So if we mention we're doing curbside takeout at One or at Primark, the phone rings off the hook and people are there to support you. If we reopen and the patio opens, we are full the first day. So I'm thankful for that. And I can't wait to just get back to normal.
And I cannot wait to see how this series continues. Eden, before we wrap this all up, and this is actually for both of you, but I'm going to get you to start first. What do you hope that foodie fans or just fans of food get from this season of Top Chef Canada?
First of all, the chefs that competed this season obviously had not just this competition to focus on, but a pandemic kind of looming in the background. And I think that watching them step up and bring their A game and showcase who they are is incredibly it was motivating to me and inspiring. And I think what I want people to take away from this season is, we have to uplift and support this industry, especially what they've gone through in the last year. A lot of restaurants have unfortunately closed. A lot of people have unfortunately lost their jobs, and it's been challenging. A lot of people don't feel safe, doing kind of what they've done before because it's such an unsure environment. So supporting the industry, doing as much as you can to give back, making sure that these people have jobs by just, what Mark said, ordering in, curbside pickup, gift certificates, doing as much as you can. So remembering that while you watch it, because this challenge really represents the restaurant industry as well. These chefs, this is their livelihood. This is what they do. And also, I just think this season, like, to be honest, every other season of Top Chef Canada, because it's such a beautiful, diverse country. You get so many gorgeous cultures from all over the world, and just the representation, the inclusion, the diversity, and us highlighting that, especially even though we've done it every other year, because that's Canada, that's very much this country, is just so important, and people need to, just, I think it's just such a beautiful thing, and just, to be able to also learn so much and grow from the foods you eat and the stories you hear. I think it's just really important.
Mark, same question for you, my friend. What do you hope that foodie fans are going to get from this season?
Well, I think the chefs all came at the season with their own unique personalities, and they were very genuine about that. Their cultural diversity, they showcased that, they proudly displayed that, and they owned essentially who they are. I think that really, really resonated in the show this year, which is fantastic. So people's personal best.
Amazing. Last question. Do you two ever like bring in Tupperware, and when nobody's looking after the show's done, like, scoop some of those meals up and take them home? Because if you guys didn't, I swear, if I was on set, I'd have a set of Tupperware waiting for every show.
There's nothing left. And if there was, June Pack would be all over that. I've never Me June, like, there's this ongoing thing with the judges. Me June can eat. Like, I'm always impressed and in awe of like her like second, third helping. And then she on top of that, like, takes like, the craft from the actual set, like, into her room, and like bundles. We're like, this is amazing. There's nothing left, because we all eat it, and then June has like seconds, and then like everyone else wants to try it, obviously. So, we just want to make sure everyone gets to have a taste.
Oh my goodness. Top Chef Canada has become food wonderland.
It has, but Mijun is a legend with her ability to consume food. I don't know a man in my life who can eat as much as Mijun Pack. And I don't know where she puts it. So she has a gifted metabolism, but she's a unique character.
I tell you what, I'll put her to the contest if I'm ever on that show. So, Eden, Mark, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. Congratulations on another season of Top Chef Canada. Probably one of the most important seasons ever because of the pandemic going on. I'm hoping everybody not just watches the series, but also supports their local restaurants and fooderies. We got to stick together on this. And looking forward to talking to you guys on season 10. And the reason why is because hopefully it'll be out of the pandemic. Hopefully we won't be doing it on Zoom. We'll be together in person. And if we're doing that, hopefully there'll be food around, and I'll have my Tupperware waiting for after our interview.
We look forward to filling your Tupperware, Rudy. Good with you.
Thank you so much, folks, for the interview. Take care, be safe, and again, congratulations.
Thank you. Take care.